So in tonight's episode of the Grounded Sleep Podcast, we are going to go where no one has boldly gone before. Yes, I am doing an episode on Star Trek. Whether you are a fan or not, and especially if you're not, this should put you to sleep. So I'm going to walk us through and take us on a journey of Star Trek, which is a world a few hundred years in the future where humanity has overcome a lot of its obstacles and is now focused on exploring the stars. My hope and dream is that we get there, and perhaps first we can start by dreaming it together. So when you're ready, get into bed, get nice and comfortable. As always, make sure you've brushed your teeth, you got your PJs on, and you are ready to sleep. Start to slow your breath down, relax the muscles in your body. And I'm going to begin us on this journey of Star Trek. So the timeline of Star Trek really begins in the 21st century, where there's a lot of struggle and war. Not too different from this 21st century we're experiencing. But just remember that the show was originally written in the late 1950s. And then, after a lot of hardship, in the year 2063, a scientist by the name of Zefram Cochrane creates Earth's first warp drive. And that is a ship that could travel faster than the speed of light. The what's called warp signature from its maiden voyage ends up attracting the attention of a passing ship that's piloted by the Vulcans. If you've ever seen Spock with the pointy ears, then you know what a Vulcan is. And the Vulcans only had interest in species that could travel faster than light. So they took note and came and landed on Earth, met the humans, and that is what's called First Contact. There's a whole movie about it, Star Trek First Contact, if you want to see it. And this ushered in a whole new era for the human species. By the 22nd century, Earth had largely eliminated poverty, disease, and war. Multiple human nations united to form United Earth, and humans began to explore nearby star systems with ships like the Enterprise. And during this era, humans encountered new civilizations, including the Klingons, the Andorians, and many others, and they established diplomatic relationships that would eventually form what's called, or what would be called, the Federation of Planets. And in the year 2061, United Earth joined all of these other planets to create the Federation, which is a democratic interstellar federation republic founded on the principles of liberty, rights, and equality. Hopefully that's already putting you to sleep. So the Federation is not just an empire or military alliance, but a cooperative union of planets that chooses to share its knowledge, its resources, and mutual protection. And this all sounds pretty idealistic, and it is, which is why I like it. So before we go any further, I want you to just start to settle in. Let your body grow a bit heavier. As we fall asleep tonight to this story about a society where there's abundance, where everyone's material needs are easily met through matter replication, where you can create anything out of thin air, and citizens are free to pursue their interests and talents and personal growth. They don't have to have a job because there's no scarcity of resources, which is why humans in this series turn to exploration, which, to be honest, is what I would do. So at the heart of the Federation is the value of non-interference, called the Prime Directive. So any species that has not yet learned how to travel faster than light, the Federation doesn't contact or intervene with, so they can have their natural evolution. Unlike many empires in human history, the Federation also doesn't seek to impose its values on other planets. Instead, it leads by example and offers membership to planets that have similar principles and want to join. So this future is really based on cooperation, curiosity, and the celebration of diversity. No matter how many eyes or arms you have, or if your skin is purple. So the Federation has what's called Starfleet. It's an exploratory, scientific, diplomatic, and defensive force. And it's equipped with really impressive technology and amazing spaceships. Some of them are designed for long-term missions of discovery. And their primary mission is to explore strange new worlds and to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go where no one has gone before. I really love that. Tonight, as you fall asleep, perhaps in your dreams, you will go somewhere you haven't gone before. So my favorite Star Trek series of all the series, which there are many, is called The Next Generation, which was on in the late 1980s and 1990s. And this series takes place in the year 2364. And the captain of the spaceship in this series is Captain Jean-Luc Picard. He's my favorite of all the Star Trek captains. He's very measured, intellectual, but also has a fierceness about him when it's needed. And before making a decision, he meets with his staff in what's called the Ready Room, and they hash things out together. His spaceship is called the USS Enterprise, and it's a Galaxy-class starship, and is the flagship of Starfleet. And if you want to come on this Star Trek journey with me tonight. As you start to drift off into sleep, you can imagine yourself on board this magnificent vessel, the Enterprise. And unlike some cramped military-style accommodations on the older Star Treks, the Enterprise D is designed for a long-term space exploration, so it's comfortable. There are families on board, spacious living quarters, recreational facilities like the holodeck, where you can create a hologram of anything you want. You could be on a beach, you could be on a mountain or on another planet, or playing chess with Einstein. And there's even a bar and a lounge called 10 Forward, where you can meet species from all different planets and make friends and have some good downtime. As we're on this ship together, you might feel the gentle vibration of the warp engines as they propel the ship through space. The corridors are wide and well lit. The color scheme, soft beiges and grays. And again, this ship is captained by Captain Jean-Luc Picard. He's diplomatic, well-tempered. He has a passion for archaeology and literature and classical music. And his command philosophy centers on using the right tool for each situation. Sometimes diplomacy, sometimes science, and even force if necessary. He has a calm British accent, and his famous line is "Make it so." And there are some other notable characters on this ship. His first in command, or his right-hand man, William Riker. He's charismatic and confident. He's very dedicated to his position and has a warm playfulness. Then the ship's operations are managed by Lieutenant Commander Data, who is an android. He badly wants to become more human. Then there's also the ship's counselor, Deanna Troi. She's half Betazoid, which is a species that has empathic and psychic abilities. She can sense the emotions of others, and her presence helps the crew navigate both personal challenges and diplomatic encounters with unknown species. In many ways, she represents the Federation's evolved approach to mental health and emotional intelligence. And she sits right next to the captain, and she advises him when he has a hard decision to make. And then there's Lieutenant Worf. He's a Klingon, raised by human parents, and he comes from a species that's very war-centered. As the head of security, he's big and tough, and he makes sure everything stays secure. And then there's the head of engineering, Lieutenant Commander Geordie LaForge. He has a visual disability, so he has a special visor on that lets him perceive the electromagnetic spectrum. And Geordie is very optimistic, and he's a brilliant engineer that makes sure the Enterprise keeps running smoothly. And then there's the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Beverly Crusher. She's compassionate and ethical, and she deeply cares for the crew's well-being. And this crew together, and there are many more characters, but this core crew makes up the leadership team of the Star Trek Enterprise. And in a sense, we all have every one of these characters in us. The leader, the empathic part of us, the scientific engineer in us, the analytical one, the protector. And when there is balance and mastery, that's when the Enterprise is able to get out of sticky situations, when they all bring their expertise and talent together. So as your consciousness continues to drift off, you can imagine walking in the Enterprise down the hallways. Perhaps you stop by the engineering room and see the warp core pulsating with its blue light. Maybe go to the holodeck and create some kind of scenario to enjoy. Or you go to the lounge in 10 Forward and have a drink. And of course, you'll have to gaze out of the windows of the Enterprise and see the stars passing. And by this time, in the next generation, the Federation has grown to include over 150 worlds. That spans 8,000 light years. Some of these worlds are represented on the Enterprise. You can feel that energy of exploration as you drift off into your dream state. You're on this beautiful journey of curiosity and exploration as you fall asleep. Allow yourself to have a beautiful evening amongst the stars. And may you live long and prosper.